Welcome back to the Masters of Materium. And today we're going to talk about if you're going to get wrecked by Shipwreck. First, let's do a mini lesson in EV, which stands for expected value. So the definition of expected value is the anticipated average value for an investment at some point in the future. And in poker and in any form of gambling where there's an edge, everyone is always trying to maximize or calculate their EV. In poker, every single hand has an EV. The best poker players in the world are always choosing whether or not to bet on it. I was a heavy gambler for about 7-8 years, and I had a positive expected EV. So we're going to talk about whether or not the Shipwreck boxes have a positive EV. And the best way or the simplest way I can explain EV is if you go to Las Vegas, there's two types of gamblers. There's people that play the slot machines and roulettes and whatever else, which all has a negative EV, meaning the more they play, the more they're likely to lose. And then there's edge gamblers, which you'll see those guys at the poker table primarily. There's not a lot of Las Vegas games that have any potential for positive EV. Ilham, anything you want to add to just positive EV? Because I know you're not a big gambler per se, but obviously you've used that in crypto and a million other things.
Well, pretty much for any crypto drop, I typically look at that. Probably the last one, as an example, would have been the Christmas time Vox boxes, in which case they did have a positive EV. The boxes, as a result, could be immediately flipped on OpenSea for a profit as a result of that. Now, the market has decreased since then, so it's no longer positive, but at the time of purchase, it certainly was.
Grill, let's roll the Shipwreck video.
Let's do this.
Yeah, Paul, you want to run that? So, just so you guys are aware, there is a high probability that you would get either a human, orc, or dwarf plus a dragon voucher. That's just the percentages. But there are some pretty awesome things. We got 111 ancient items, elves and lanterns of the sun, 254 ships and docks, 227 legendary items, halflings, majestic buildings, majestic ships and docks. There's 106 land deeds. So there's 12 farming hamlets, 33 outposts, and 61 homesteads. There's 10 full dragon voucher packs, 2 caravels. And of course, there's the 1 town of the Duke. So if you just want an exemplar and a dragon voucher, go to OpenSea. But if you want a chance at any of this stuff, they'll be in the Shipwreck.
Now, there's a reason that Ilham is the master of coin, and that is because, one, he's a spreadsheet wizard. He doesn't miss much, if anything. And we're going to take a look at some of his work on the Shipwreck boxes. Pull it up, Grill. Ilham, walk us through the math.
Alrighty, so first off here, the cost of Shipwreck box, as they mentioned, is 0.17 ETH. You can see that highlight at the top. Materium price, because some of the boxes will have Materium price, and that's based off the Uniswap price at the present, and the ETH value, which is as of the time of recording. Now, on the first column, we have the list of all the different NFTs. Now, some boxes will have more than one NFT. In that case, the NFT 2 column was filled. And where it says average NFT value, in some cases, there will be, say, an orc, or it'll be, say, a human. In those cases, I took the average bid prices of those particular exemplars. Now, with that said, there's not a huge variety in the humans and orcs and such in terms of bid prices. You do see the bid prices on some of the elves being varied a bit, such as the Dark Suns compared to, say, Bright Suns and the like. The next thing is probability. That's simply the total number of boxes divided by all boxes. And in the next column, you have total NFT bid value. That is the value of the column 1 plus column 2 of the NFTs, if column 2 exists for that particular Shipwreck box. Gross profit is just the subtraction of that. Net profit for pull, that includes a bunch of things. So the net profit would be if you were to pay the 0.17 ETH, and that includes the gas fee to buy off of Gala initially, assuming that you're not using, say, Materium directly from your treasure chest. and then immediately bridging from Gyrite back to ETH, which there's a $20 at the time of recording fee to bridge an NFT from Gyrite to ETH, and then selling that on OpenSea to the bid, which incurs a 12.5% total OpenSea fee, including the gas fee to sell on OpenSea, based on the average GUI price at the time of recording was 12. So that gives you the net profit per pull. Now, where it says net profit from all such pulls, so say the Town of the Duke, there's only one box with the Town of the Duke, so that's simply that. It's a multiplication of that column. Now, if you look down to say wharf, there are 4 wharfs, so that's 4 times that value. So that's from a flip perspective. If you were to simply buy the assets to try to potentially make a flip to get either a positive or a negative expected value, which we'll go into a little bit further. The next set of columns is for someone who's not looking to flip, for someone who's just looking to see if they would acquire better value on average by buying these shipwreck boxes versus, say, just putting the highest bid of their particular item they were interested in on OpenSea and with the hope of someone selling to that bid. So this one doesn't include the OpenSea sell fees. It doesn't include the bridging fees from Gyrite to ETH. However, it still includes the value of potentially paying gas fees to buy off of the store.
Town of the Duke 5.11. A lot of people are going to be wondering how you came up with that price, which is that based on the current bids and asks?
This is all based on bids. So if you were to immediately buy something and immediately dump it for the highest bid, that's what it would get. Now, I can guarantee you if someone listed a Town of the Duke as an ask for 10 ETH, as long as I was awake, it would sell immediately. So you can definitely get higher values than what we're seeing here. The important thing to note, however, that these NFTs that have, say, lower than what you would expect the item to reasonably sell for tend to be the ones that are the rarest and have only 1 and 2 boxes associated with them. So amongst the 6,969 total boxes, the math doesn't really adjust to any significant amount just because they're so rare compared to the total number of boxes. But yes, those are simply OpenSea bid prices converted to ETH at the time of making the spreadsheet. At this point here, you can see where it says Materium. Now, they did mention there will be Materium included. Manny said there would be 4,553 Materium put in some of these boxes. That Materium value is a positive expected value on that particular box pull. And that does pull up the results a little bit. If a lot of people started dumping that, obviously the swap price of Materium would decline to some degree. However, there's 364 such boxes. That number was acquired by knowing the 6969 and subtracting all of the known boxes. As we were mentioning, the assessment here is based on 2 things. So one is someone who's just looking to flip, and the other one is someone who's looking to get a certain value. Now, if you're not interested in flipping, you will get a little bit of better value because a lot of the money that's lost here is from the bridging from Gyrite back to ETH. The other perspective on this is, well, let's say I specifically wanted a human exemplar or I wanted, say, a dragon voucher. And I didn't really care what that was. Then buying off of the store does save you the cost of bridging from Ethereum to Gyrite. That wasn't accounted for because there's no way of knowing how much you want to actually bridge over at any particular time. The problem with the entire, from an expected value perspective, is that, as you can see there in row 99, the single dragon voucher plus a exemplar, whether that's is a random orc, dwarf, or human, almost 66% of all boxes accounts for that. And given the current market conditions, the value of those items on average is very, very low. And as a result, that dramatically pulls down the total expected value. As you can see, the total cost of all boxes is 1,184.73 ETH, and that's simply the 0.17 times 6969. And as you can see, I have it spread out in two different sets. So one is from the OpenSea flip perspective. It works out that the average profit per box is negative 0.05, which essentially means that if you put bids in on OpenSea, on average for that same amount of ETH, you'll get a better value by putting bids in on OpenSea. However, it's important to note that if you put a bid in for 0.17 ETH on a Town of the Duke, it's unlikely to fill because that's not, say, the highest bid. But if you were to buy, say, a Shipwreck box, there's at least a chance you could get, say, a Town of the Duke. So from a gambler's perspective, regardless of whether or not these have a positive expected value, that doesn't mean that not a lot of people are going to actually do really well, because there's enough high ticket items mixed in these 69 boxes that, assuming a significant number of boxes sell, there'll be a significant number of people that will gain significant value based on their purchase. Now, the average cost of the box in US dollars is $281. As you can see, that's a loss on average from a value perspective of $90. 949 boxes of them would be profitable in terms of immediate flip, which works out to 1 in 7.34. So if you were to buy 7.34 boxes, obviously you can't buy 0.34 of a box, but let's say you bought 8 boxes, on average, one of those boxes would be profitable. And it could be significantly profitable too, many times the value. Now, from the value perspective, for people that are not looking to flip, that gives you a little better overall value for sure. And as you can see, the potential, in quotes, profit, which obviously if you're not selling, you can't really assess for profit, but instead of 0.05 ETH to the negative, it's only 0.03 per box on average because of the reduced fees. Unfortunately, because there's so many of the single dragon voucher with the exemplar boxes, that doesn't dramatically improve your odds of getting a better value. It only increases it to 1 in 7.11 instead of 1 in 7.34. If you say put bids on stuff on OpenSea, you only ever need to put bids on the items that you actually want. Whereas in this, you can get literally any potential item within all the boxes. So it depends on what you're looking for. You want to take a chance of getting a really big asset for pennies on the dollar, and you're not so worried about potentially losing potential value? Or do you want to look at just increasing the value of your ETH at the present?
Grill, are you going to buy a box?
Not much of a gambler myself. Would it be fun to buy one? Maybe. I kind of like a guaranteed thing where I could just place bids on OpenSea. But people do like to gamble, and I think they'll sell some. I don't think they're going to come close to selling out, but people will definitely take some shots at this. All it needs is one person to get like the Town of the Duke or maybe one of the large jewelers, and that will probably spur on some more sales too, right? But like a little luck to get things kind of flowing.
Yeah. And Miranda's team, if you're listening, obviously, if you provide a discount for upon launch, then you can turn this into a positive EV. Give us a 50% discount for 24 hours. Yeah, I'll probably buy some, not sure how many, but I'm not a big gambler either, but I am a sucker for Mirandus. So I'll probably.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, I'll be buying some boxes and placing bids on OpenSea for sure. The Gala chain fee of $20 is going to be a major impediment for most of these NFTs, right? Most of these NFTs are not going to get transferred. If you get a pit fighter that's worth $30, you're going to pay $20 to transfer it and then pay the OpenSea fee, 12.5%, net a couple bucks, maybe. What's your opinion, Elam? What percentage of these NFTs do you think is going to stay on Gala chain?
I would say the vast majority of them stay on Gala chain simply because the vast majority of them are fairly low valued boxes. I think a relatively significant portion of the high value NFTs will get bridged from Gyri back to ETH. I know myself personally, I'll be watching the feed to see if any of these NFTs are getting minted within the Mirandus collection. Of ones that I'm interested in, the high value land deeds, the high value ships and docks and the like, and at which time I'd probably put some bids up. That way, I'm potentially paying a lot more than the person who paid 0.17 ETH for it, but at least I know I'm buying what I actually want for a price that I would be willing to potentially pay.
Well, there you have it. Are you going to get wrecked by Shipwreck? Not really. I think it's a decent value. Again, negative EV, sure. But again, if you like to gamble, go for it. If you don't like what you got, you can always dump it on OpenSea. With that being said, that's it. Thank you so much. Make sure you gently touch the subscribe button. You don't need to smash it. Give us a comment. Tell us if you're going to buy a box. And if you haven't done so already, click the link in the description, join our Discord, or go to our website, mastersofmaterium.com, and then join Mom. Again, we are inclusive. Recently, somebody wrote, if you have a pulse, you can join Mom. That is accurate. We're open for everyone. Thank you.